Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insight for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at nbnrpodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Utter. He's a junkyard dog.
Kenny Bell ran up to me. He's like, you know what you just did?
You get mad when you go get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Dang on it, Muhammad!
GBR.
Red indeed. No block, no rock. Season 4, episode 23. We are coming at you live from the Nebraska Brewing Company Barrel Room. And we have with us a very special guest. He is one of the most decorated Husker wide receivers of all time. Dare I say, one of the best players of the past decade to put on a Husker uniform. He left Nebraska as the leader in career receptions, career receiving yards. He was a multiple all Big Ten performer. And guys, I don't know if this is hyperbolic when I say it. He might be a future Nebraska football Hall of Famer. Kenny Bell. Is that too much? What do you think? Is that too much?
I think all of it was too much, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate the love.
How could we not?
I don't know if I deserve. I don't know if I deserve all those accolades being listed by any means, especially now with how many great guys I got to play with that made my career what it was. But I'm very thankful. Also, episode 23, I got the MJ episode.
That's right.
Yeah. There it is.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah, absolutely.
No, we had it all planned. Shut up, Jay.
Yeah.
Now, Kenny, I just want to ask you, first off,
Yeah.
did you wake up pissed off today? And you know why I asked that.
No, I'm not as dope as Trey Palmer.
Yes.
My goodness, that dude is a beast.
Seriously,
that 4.3 speed is very legit.
I mean, he breaks that tackle, and it's like, bye.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Not even close. Bye.
Yeah.
Did we say if it's not every that he wakes up pissed
When
off,
he
it's
broke
every.
it, he looked up field and. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you guys. Yeah, he broke that tackle and looked up field and realized the safety didn't have a chance. It was great.
And the safety realized that too, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So Kenny, you grew up, you went to high school and played football in Boulder, Colorado. And of course, when you think of the past year in college football, Boulder, Colorado was a pretty popular talking point, what with Deion Sanders going there and coaching the Buffaloes. If you could just kind of go into the recruiting process for you, going to high school there, and just kind of how Nebraska approached your recruitment and just any other schools or any stories that you want to get into about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Boulder. I grew up going to Buffs camps, loved the Buffs. But at the time, Dan Hawkins was the coach for the Buffs. And I when they offered me, I can't tell the story because it's just not appropriate. The stuff that like I couldn't believe what he said during our meeting. But that was kind of a red flag for me. So that pushed me away from the Buffs. And then at that time, Bo was at Nebraska. He had just gotten the job in 2009, and the defense was awesome. And the wide receivers coach, Ted Gilmore at the time, would come out to Colorado. He'd come to my games. He'd come to my basketball games, my track meets. I mean, Nebraska really made me feel like they wanted me. And for me to be right up the street for CU, I mean, they weren't coming to any of that stuff. So it was really a no-brainer in terms of where I wanted to go. And then I came. We played. It was 2009, and we played K-State at home. And it was like the dudes on that official visit were like me, Levante David, Yoshi Hardrick. Like there were some big names, and Rex Burkhead was my host. And after that night, I always promised. My dad always told me get off campus and don't make a decision right now. But when I was leaving Memorial after we waxed K-State that night, it was pretty obvious where I wanted to go.
You knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I definitely
to be in
knew.
class with the guys that you just named, was that intimidating or encouraging? Seeing at that point, you have to. I feel like you probably saw the talent that was surrounding that class.
For me, for me it was at that time I was from Boulder. I was in a little bubble. I didn't understand national talent level that really was associated with college football. I was just, I was a kid from Colorado. I didn't know any better. But yeah, realized, and at that time, I didn't know who Levante David was either, right? I didn't realize that he was going to go down as one of the best linebackers in our school's history, let alone a future Hall of Famer in the NFL, right? So we were stacked, and I'm incredibly thankful for that. But yeah, it was a bit of a wake-up call, to say the least, when I saw Yoshi Hardrick on the sideline.
Oh, Yoshi Hardrick, man. Canadian Football League, like, I don't know if there's a Hall of Fame for them, but I have to assume that he's right.
He's got to be in the Hall of Fame for the Bombers one of these days.
He's a legend up there.
He's a legend, man.
So you kind of mentioned the talent that you were surrounded by on your visit, and I just got to ask, like, we have literally the highest rated recruit of all time in Nebraska's history coming, Dylan Raiola. And you look at that kind of wide receiver room, a lot of young guys. And it just came out yesterday, that Nebraska has hired a new quarterback coach, Glenn Thomas. He was an assistant with the Steelers. And I just kind of want to pick your brain about what can this coaching staff do in terms of game planning or game calling to kind of ease Dylan's transition in playing Power 5 ball. I mean, he's a true freshman. That kind of scares a lot of people, but he's a 5-star for a reason.
Yeah.
And so what can the staff do to kind of ease the transition with him and some of the younger receivers in that room?
Establish the run game is most important, right? I think that's something that we hang our hat on as a university and as a culture. But I don't think people understand how much playing wide receiver relies on the ability to run the football. Obviously, there's freaking natures like A.J. Brown, right, and Jamar Chase and these guys that can just get open all the time. But when you got a defense that's worried about a run game like ours was in 2011, I don't mean to bring up the past, obviously, but it's all I can speak on. It's where I played. But I had success because I got to catch 45-yard, 50-yard bombs from Tommy and Taylor because the defenses had to worry about tackling Rex Burkhead and Amir Abdullah, right? Like that was the heart and soul of our offense. So I think that's the most important thing. Can we get back to smashing people between the tackles?
Right.
And I think that fits for the culture too, right? With these 4 new Pac-12 teams, I think there's a lot of beating their chests that they're going to come in, run all over the place, throw all over the place. And it's like, all right, well, let's play in 10-degree weather, and we're going to run the ball at you 40 times a game, and we'll see how you guys feel after 3 quarters, So when you talk about that style of football, I think it fits the Big Ten, and more importantly, it fits Big Red.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about the thing that we crave as fans here, and I think especially, Mike touched on this, that getting a bell cow that you can give the ball reliably like 20 times a game. Can we find a guy that can just be that consistent bell cow RB1 guy?
Can we get a 1,000-yard rusher? We haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Divine Azigbo in 2018.
Is it not a little on the nose that cowbell rhymes with Dowdell?
Yeah.
Is it not a little on the nose?
Yeah, we got to do something with that.
Yeah, I like that.
And I did just kind of.
If you look at it, if you look at other programs, like if you look at Minnesota, right, and how they were able to establish the run game with Mo Ibrahim, I mean that made them relevant in the Big Ten, right? They were not, and I'm not taking anything away from the program. I think Coach Fleck's a good coach. I think they're doing the right stuff up in Minnesota. I just think when you look at a program like that and you look at us, it's like, well, dang, why can't we have one of the nation's top rushers? Because that automatically will free up a young quarterback, right? So yeah, I think when they get to game planning in the spring, I'd be surprised, if it was 5 wides and Dylan was slinging it all over the place. But it's also not my job right now to go out there and win football games. So I'm going to trust in Coach Rule and that staff. And because I genuinely do. I really like the staff that they got go up there. And I think Trev is the absolute man. I think he's one of the best ADs in the country. So I'm really, really excited about where Husker, not only football is at, but just Husker sports.
Heck yeah.
So a question for you, in establishing that run game, obviously your O-line is going to be incredibly important. I don't know if you've been following the recent additions. Most recently, who we've been referring to as Mazuka the Bazooka.
Yeah.
And the development that we saw over this last year, do you see that O-line being in a place to really allow – I mean, Dowdle is a great running back, and I'm excited to see. I think he's got 3 years left. Do you think this O-line's in a place to really establish that run in a way that, not only can Raiola be, do you see this O-line being in a spot where that can be a huge factor?
Right. I think yes, they can, without a doubt. I think it depends on how they gel through the spring and through the early part of the season. I think of they were talking about Philly, the Eagles O-line the other night. Obviously not a great game for them, but the playing every game together, or I think it was Buffalo, playing every game of a season together on the O-line, like in terms of communication and knowing where your guys are at. I mean, that makes a world of difference. So if we can get 5 Hogs that can stay healthy all year, I don't think it's a problem to have one of the Big Ten's best rushers. So no, I wholeheartedly believe that that's a goal that's attainable, and I believe that that's a goal that the Huskers want. Right? I mean, as a team, if you can run the football in the Big Ten, you can run the football on anybody in the country, in my opinion. So.
Hey, Kenny, so obviously you moved back to Nebraska. Have you had an opportunity to be around the new staff, and what is the comparison compared to when you were back at Nebraska?
Yeah, I don't have the experience like with the staff personally yet to comment on that. I've gone to as many games as I could, and I was on the sidelines, and I saw Coach Rule, obviously, saw Coach Foley giving them all my best and letting them know that I'm supporting them. But I try and I don't want to be down at practice and being a distraction. You know what I mean? Those guys have jobs to do. They're trying to win football games. I'm not going to be down there just to, show face. And I'm not taking shots at anybody. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying I understand that they got a job to do, and I'm not going to just be wandering around the building when they're working. If they were to ever ask me to come down and just help or anything, I'd be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and like relating to that, I think you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like Coach Rule asked to come on No Block, No Rock, but we said, no, look, you have a job to do, Coach Rule. If you listen, we don't want to be the one responsible for you, taking quote unquote a day off and responsible for an L. We don't want to be responsible for that. So, Coach Rule, we appreciate the offer, but
I respect that. You guys you'll have Husker Nation at you guys talking about, oh, he was on the podcast and he didn't care about the game plan.
That's right. We don't need that.
You gotta be careful.
We're usually the ones saying that about other people, so we don't want to be that target.
You know what? You know what that would remind me of? I don't know if the dude still does it, but the tunnel walk of shame.
Yeah.
Does that still exist? Oh man, I
don't think so.
Our whole team would wake up and read those on the way to the game. That was funny.
That's awesome.
That reminds me of that.
Yeah, we don't want to be on that.
So I guess you have not had like the direct interaction with the current staff. I guess what is your perception of how they're like the jobs they're doing, how they're doing it? What is your perception of how the staff is going about their jobs?
Well, first and foremost, the Huskers undoubtedly got better throughout the year last year, right? So I know losing close games and taking care of the football and all those pains that we've had for all these years since I was playing football when we were doing that stuff on offense. I hear the fans' frustration, but I mean, it's corny, but Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Like this stuff isn't going to just turn around in a year. I think the first month people were looking at the success maybe that the Buffs were having in the hype train. And I mean that as much as I love the Buffs, obviously crashed and burned. So I think there's just a process of things that people aren't always willing to see. But there is no doubt that we got better last year, right? Especially on the defense. When you're playing in games in the Big Ten Conference, it's playing defense and running the football. So if we can continue to get better at those things, and we've got a stud under center, I've got a lot of faith and a lot of confidence in where the program is headed and where the coaches have the program headed.
Yeah, and I kind of want to go back and what you said about establishing a solid run game to take pressure off Dylan Raiola. And I think a lot of fans might argue that, hey, you are bringing in arguably the best quarterback in the class of 2024. Like, we're not going to run the ball 30 times because then you're taking away the thing that Dylan Raiola does best, which is slinging the ball around. And I don't know if that's necessarily right or wrong, but I just kind of want to ask you about this quarterbacks coach. Now, when you look at the quarterback room, there are 2 true freshmen in that room with Raiola and Kalen. And the thing about quarterbacks coaches, guys, is like all these quarterbacks that are coming up, they work with quarterback coaches their whole lives. And then they come in, and I just kind of wonder about the kind of impact that a quarterbacks coach can have in a program. And so I just want to ask you, Kenny, maybe with your experience with quarterback coaches, what's something that Glenn Thomas can do to make these guys better?
Right. One, it's fundamentals, right? Teaching the fundamentals of a higher paced game where the players are bigger, stronger, faster, smarter. But 2, it's going to be preparing the young guys for the offense, right? And that, I know that sounds basic, but it's not necessarily a quarterback's job at that level to show a kid how to throw a football, right? Like that's not, you're not going to work on mechanics necessarily, I don't think as much, but learning how the offense operates and what makes the offense successful means the world, right? Like that's if you've got a QB coach that can do that. And I think someone that did phenomenal with that for us was Joe Gans. Joe Gans came in for us and took over at the QB position or quarterback position, a guy that had played at Nebraska, guys that respected him, respected his opinion. And I thought the second that happened, Tommy and Taylor's play went through, I don't want to say through the roof, but I mean, they definitely started to improve as quarterbacks. So when you got a guy that can teach the ins and outs and the nuances of the offense, that's what you're looking for out of that quarterback coach, right?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I don't mean to bring up a sore subject, but wasn't it Joe Gans that outdrove you at the Team Jack outing?
Yep.
The golf outing?
I remember
that. Wow, that was a really that did not need to be said, but yeah, it was.
Kyle, am I incorrect? Did Joe Gans
if I
do
remember
that?
correctly, I think Joe Gans was on top, and then Nate Gary went out there with no shoes on, barefoot.
It was Gary that went barefoot. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Country boy Gary, that's my boy.
Yeah. You still beat the hell out of our squad, so I wouldn't feel too bad.
You guys will have to come back this year.
Oh yeah,
we'll definitely
100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of like coaching staffs and stuff, we've had dozens of Bo Pelini guys come on our podcast, and they have nothing but glowing things to say about him. And we all know, he gets fired, and all the external factors surrounding the program, it's very unfortunate, right? There's a lot of things that he was kind of going up against, which kind of makes me think, and I guess I'm kind of asking you to speculate, I guess, and, tell me to kick rocks if this is too much, but like, why hasn't he found just another Power 5 job somewhere? Like, what do you think? What do you think?
Oh, I talked to the head man, and yeah, we love him to death. He's like a father to us. And Bo doesn't want to coach anymore. Unfortunately, where the game is at, and I don't blame him, right? His coaching style doesn't exist in the game anymore. And I think that is a detriment. I think telling 17, 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids how great they are all the time and giving them a pocket full of money doesn't raise the best young men always. I think back when I was 18 years old and I got to Nebraska, I was humbled, like incredibly humbled. If you ask my teammates, my first year and a half, I didn't really talk to anybody. I didn't have friends. And that's because I wasn't used to the environment that I was in. And I was, I was having all those rough edges as a young man, being sanded down by coaches that genuinely cared about my well-being. They wanted me to be a good man, not just a great football player for them. So that's what I've always appreciated and loved about Bo. And from my point of view, that's why he's not going to get back in the game. Because if Bo was to yell at a guy like he used to yell at us, that guy will just transfer, right? You can just leave the program and do whatever you want, badmouth the coach. So it's just not a culture and environment that I think Bo would thrive in. And I don't think that's a negative strike on his character, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So my question, as you talk about how Bo maybe like that coaching style doesn't exist in the NCAA right now, my question for you is, coming through your college career at Nebraska, what motivated you the most? Was it your coach holding you to, like, I'm angry with you because I know you can be better? Was it because you wanted to be the best guy on your team? What motivated you the most?
I'd say it was all encompassing. It was being just part of a culture that was bigger than yourself, right? No one is bigger than what we're trying to accomplish, and nothing is more important. And that kind of mentality, I don't know if it's necessarily the healthiest, right, for 18, 19-year-old kids, but in terms of creating a team and a bond and guys that you want to go to war with on Saturdays, I mean, in my opinion, that's the only way to do it, right? You talk about, if you ask great teams about themselves, right, when they're getting interviewed, I don't think obviously it's about the practices and the preparation, but I think it's everything about the camaraderie and the guys, right? It's wanting to leave it all out there for the guys that you are coached by and the guys that you play with. So that's especially in football. I mean, in sports, period. Thing.
Oh, there it goes. Okay,
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I just rewatched you and Will Compton's golf outing, on like the Big Ten Network, like that little YouTube video that you guys did, and you guys like had talked about that a little bit, like it was kind of like hindsight, right? Like looking back, and Bo like getting on you guys a bunch, and it was part of this bigger plan because he believed in you guys, and you're like, we were not privy to that, like we did not. He was actually like, whatever, but
funny. But at 20 years old, like how many 19, 20-year-old kids know that? You're in school, you think you're a big man on campus, like you play on television on Saturdays and the whole nation watches you. I mean, that stuff just goes to a lot of people's head, right? And I'm not going to just say everyone's, but it certainly went to mine. And without a coaching staff and the teammates that I had, I wouldn't have turned out to be who I am today. So I'm incredibly thankful for that experience and where I chose to go.
Kenny, you talked earlier about, Bo would be adapting to the college game, the modern day of college football with transfer portal, NIL, all that stuff. That leads me to a question for you. If you had an NIL deal, which one would you want in college? Because obviously there was no NIL when you were playing.
Now, I just want to add, Mike, before you finish, Kenny Bell, I remember reading a story about you that you had to get a job as a bartender because you could not pay your bills.
This is true. I came home and my lights were off. So I started bartending at the bar. And what NIL deal would I have taken? I mean, honestly, I would have taken a ramen noodle NIL deal when I was in school. I wouldn't have. That was such a foreign, even thought that I'd see that, and especially this soon. And if I'm being honest, I want to tell you to kick rocks because it's a sore subject. There's nothing worse than being like, oh yeah, these kids are getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars for their jersey sales and appearing in commercials. And I'm sitting here at 32 now. I'm just like, wow, I missed that boat.
Yeah, I think you would have done pretty good for yourself, especially in the Nebraska market.
I was going to say, I used to catch you at the Runza and the Union all the time. I figured Runza was going to be a number one option there.
Yeah.
Man, I honestly, I should call Runza right now and ask them if they're interested in 32-year-old washed up football players or an NIL.
Come on, just tweet #Runza. That's all you have to do, and you make money.
Yeah.
No, they're actually good. A big shout out to the folks at Runza. I went and got chili and cinnamon rolls a couple weeks back, and tweeted it just how phenomenal. Because I mean, they're just free advertising for Runza just because they're phenomenal. But they sent me a cinnamon roll and chili candle and a personalized note. They are awesome.
That's badass.
They have candles.
Yeah, and they're great. So another free shout out to Runza. Buy their cinnamon and chili candles. They're fantastic.
Brother, I'm ordering one right now. I'm buying one right now.
Dude, I tweet at Runza all the time and they don't send me anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you should be better at football, Mike.
Yeah, obviously.
We all have our own thing.
Yeah, you're still such a recognizable face and name around here. I'm kind of surprised that. Look, Runza, come on, guys. It's right there. The opportunity.
Get this man a deal.
Right. Now, Mike, you have a question on the chat?
Yeah, we are live, and so we have some comments and questions in the chat. We had some people ask some stuff prior to the interview, too. Somebody had a question, and obviously we have to bring this up. This is the No Block, No Rock podcast, and we have the king of No Block, No Rock with us. So the question is, does Kenny believe that the player from Wisconsin has found his soul yet, asking for a friend?
Oh, man, funny story. That poor guy, he was playing up in the Canadian Football League on Josh Mitchell's team, one of my old teammates from back in the day.
Yeah. We've had Jay
They
Mitchell.
got brought up while during their training camp. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. No, we're just waiting in anticipation for this story.
Oh no.
Did we lose him?
Yeah, no, we got you.
We got you.
Can you hear me?
If you can hear me, give me just a sec. I'm just going through a bad spot. Sorry about this.
Yep.
Hey, no worries. We got you. If you can hear us.
Those mountains are freaking deadly, man. That was a good question, though.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Or should I say, Ben?
Can you hear us now, Kenny?
Oh man, my audio is a mess.
Hey, no worries.
Listen, it's not new for us, man.
Hey,
we're used to this.
We're just reminiscing on that block.
Yeah,
like, that's really all we're doing.
In fact, Michael Delaware, you can show off your shirt there.
Yeah,
oh, you are wearing.
Yeah, he wore the
the
KD shirt. He just straight.
I actually didn't notice that until right now.
Yeah, I wore it. Yeah, I don't know if he can. Oh, he's gone. Okay, he's probably gonna have to rejoin us.
Okay.
So we'll just anticipate the story. But I guess we can go around the table right now since we are still live. For the guys that are people that are listening to us, we do have Kenny Bell on live. He is rejoining. Hold on, let's see. Oh, we got a little some sirens.
Hold on a second.
Kenny, are you getting pulled over?
Oh, geez.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear what's going on.
Are there some sirens around you?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's gone again.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Is he okay?
I hope so.
Oh, he's back again.
There he is.
Let's try it again.
Are you okay, Kenny?
Kenny, are you there?
I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh, dude, you're good.
Are you safe? We heard sirens.
Oh, no.
Hello?
Kenny, you there?
Oh, no.
Oh.
I'm getting concerned.
While we're waiting for Kenny, let's go around the table. What's your... Oh, here we go.
There he is again. All right,
my God.
This is the one.
Here you guys.
Kenny, can you hear us? Kenny, are you there?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I can
There he
kind of
is.
hear you guys, but the audio is messed up.
Hey, no worries, brother. We heard sirens. We got concerned.
Here's what I'll say, and I don't know if you can hear us, but here's what I appreciate. We wish we could have had him in studio.
Yeah,
I would say studio.
Yeah.
Hold on.
But I want to say, and he's going to try to rejoin. I appreciate the effort of him continually trying to rejoin us.
He's coming back like 4 or 5 times.
He's not just like using this as an excuse to kind of peace out.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We must be doing something right.
One thing we've learned is Kenny Bell's a dog on and off the field.
Yes,
He's just dog.
Can he hear us? Kenny, can you hear us?
Could everybody hear my
shucks.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I mean, we got him pretty clear. It's just
Yeah.
whatever.
He said he was driving through a bad spot. I get that.
Well, I think I can appreciate kind of what he said about Bo and how the
Kenny Cheatham says can't be doing no live stream on no cricket phone, brother.
Yeah.
what is this 1998?
Kenny,
Yeah, speaking of, you
Are
probably
you
had a
back?
cricket phone back in the day, huh?
yeah.
I'm
Kenny,
getting fried. Am I back?
you are back. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I just saw somebody said you can't be doing a live stream on a
That's Kenny Cheatham. Kenny Cheatham.
Oh boy.
All right. Yo, Noop. I'm gonna find you one of these days. That's messed up.
You didn't exactly argue his. Are you using a cricket phone? What are you using?
He's got that dial up.
Literally, I'm pulled over now trying to get some service.
Oh man. Well, we heard the sirens and we're like, okay.
Yeah, we got
First,
concerned.
Your safety is first priority here. So
Are you still there?
I'll be all right.
Okay. He's still here. Okay.
now, you were telling us the story about in the Canadian Football League, the guy's soul that you had taken.
Yeah.
The story.
And we lost.
And we stopped.
Oh,
no.
God.
Oh,
Okay,
he's
back again.
Well, look.
Okay. Can you? Am I here? Can you guys hear me at least?
We can hear you.
Kenny, we talked about this when you were off for the second or third time. We want to point out we appreciate you just absolutely not giving up on this.
Grinding.
We love that. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I got you guys. I'm pulled over. I'm a little cold, but it's all right.
Oh no!
Oh, you're outside?
No!
All right.
You're not outside, are you?
Yeah, I'm outside. Don't worry about it. All right, so
Kenny?
the Wisconsin guy. Yeah, so he was up in CFL playing with Josh Mitchell, and it got brought up. Everyone was like, "Yo, look at this hit." We're bringing it up, and sure enough, Jay Mitch is like, "Yo, that's Devin," and the dude got crucified.
Oh no!
Well, rightfully
I just
so.
tell that whole story, and you guys can't hear me.
No,
we can hear you. We can hear you.
We got you.
Oh, he's gonna leave again.
No, Kenny, no.
Kenny, I can hear audio.
Kenny, we got you.
Kenny, can you hear us?
No, there's two.
Oh no, there's two Kenny Bells. Hello?
We got
All
you,
right,
Kenny.
can you hear us now?
Am I in?
Yeah, we hear you.
You're
Can you
in.
hear us? Oh no!
Oh no!
We might.
This,
We
is,
might.
this
Oh,
is
no,
going
here.
really well. I didn't get hit by a truck. I'm all right if you guys can hear me.
Oh,
All
no.
All right, thank God. Thank God.
right. All right, you guys got me now?
Yeah, we got you.
We can hear you.
So,
All right, so
Kenny, I know. I just want to have a moment of levity here, Kenny. I just want to request that you put on your video. I got to see this video. I got to see your face. What's going on over there?
I'm pulled off. Hold on. I'm pulled off on like the side of Hey.
No.
He's literally outside.
I pulled off on like the side of an exit so I could talk to you guys.
Look at this. Look at this
Oh, my
guy.
Lord.
We could have him in the tap room,
I got you.
or he could be outside of his car.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
Okay.
The commitment is insane.
Anything for you guys. But yeah, it was. I don't know if the Wisconsin story finished, but it was brutal. He was playing up in the Canadian Football League with Josh Mitchell, and it got brought up in the whole locker room, like the hit. And then Josh Mitchell was like, "Oh yeah, that's Devin," and he was sitting in his locker, like trying to hide.
You just hear everybody when they're watching it go, "Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you think the hit was legal?
Yeah, absolutely. At that time.
Okay,
Right.
so
Especially at that time.
head on a swivel, dude."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
second part to that question, after that hit, do you just go home feeling like the coolest dude in the world? Because I
No.
feel like you had to have, right?
No,
I
no, why?
felt- I felt pretty bad. I had never seen someone like snoring on a bit, like from being knocked out, and he was snoring on the field. So I wasn't. We were down by quite a bit. I was trying to calm people down. I was like, guys, that was a little bit too violent.
You could tell that as soon as you laid that block, like you didn't like start hovering over him or
No.
yelling. Like you could tell that you were like, "Oh boy."
Yeah,
bro."
no, I knew. I there was no need to stand over him. I knew he was hurt. That was the most violent collision I've ever been a part of.
Is there such thing as a defenseless player on a football field?
No, absolutely not.
Thank you.
Oh.
Great answer. Great answer.
That's going in the
There has never been such thing.
I
Yeah.
love that. That's my favorite answer of all time.
Kenny, did you like you rung his bell? Like, was your bell rung as well? I don't mean to.
No,
I don't mean to. Fun thing.
yeah, no puns intended.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I didn't. I honestly didn't feel it. His feet were perfectly off the ground, and it just it's like
He was flying. He was human flight is possible.
Yeah, if you
Kenny Bell
pause,
showed us.
if you pause it, like both of his feet are perfectly off the ground. It's, yeah.
Kenny, I don't know if you can see my shirt, and I don't know if you've seen it on Twitter before, but we do have a Kenny Bell block shirt that we made in honor of that.
Yes, and he is in the air.
Yeah, it's very Briar burnt. We made that the first season we started this podcast back in 2020. So
We've got the Badgers at home this year, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to send me that shirt to wear for the game.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
We're gonna have to like update it a little bit, but yeah, because it's pretty sharp. If we can just kind of rough those or smooth those edges, we're good.
Especially my dryer burnt version. So yeah,
Kenny, hear me out. We'll get you that shirt, no charge, but we all wear the shirt and we get a picture in front of the stadium together.
Yeah,
Wait.
we'll grab a beer afterwards too.
Oh, dude, we can get you a beer.
yeah.
Love that. So, Kenny, with we know that you still do some freelancing with the Big Ten Network, and your show Link Up, you had interviewed Eric Crouch, but I'm going to kind of flip it and pose you some of the questions that you had posed to him.
All right.
What would you say is the most, sentimental or emotional moment as a Husker? And I'm going to say, if we could limit it to on the field, because we're going to talk about Team Jack, and I know that was a huge deal during the spring. But like on the field, what would you say is like the most emotional moment that you've ever had as a Husker?
Oh, obviously, the Team Jack run, right? When Jack ran that touchdown for the spring game, that was by far the most. But as a player, I'd say the 2014 Miami game at home, to have the 01 team out there and all the alumni. And that was like, at that point I was a senior, so I thought I had seen it all in Memorial Stadium. And I had never heard that stadium like that. And it was, that was probably just standing there prior to the game with Amir Abdullah. We knew it was something special. And then we just hammered Miami at home, which was just the greatest feeling ever. So I'd say that's probably got to be it. 14
the last day at the res. That was the last day at the res.
I'm sure he heard it.
Oh, the res.
We were at that tailgate, and it got rowdy quick.
It was awesome.
Out of control.
I bet.
I know, Kenny, listen, you are outside, and I don't know. Again, we appreciate your willingness to do this with us, despite the elements. I just want to ask you, I know that you majored in history, so I just want to know, like, is there a particular historical figure or a time period or event that is like Kenny Bell's Roman Empire? Like, what is your like historical thing that is your bag?
I mean, any war, from any 20th century war, I'm going to be pretty well educated on. It's something that I like reading about. It's something that I think is really interesting, especially World War II, seeing how country lines were drawn and borders were drawn, and so societal rules and cultural rules were really put in place. So looking back on that kind of stuff, you can always see what was built on top of it and why we are where we are now. And I think that's really fun or really interesting. So
I'm with you.
That's something I'll always be passionate about.
Awesome. Okay. Kenny, we'll touch on the last question so you can get back on the road safely
and get in your car.
Get in your freaking car. Obviously, this interview happened because of the Team Jack Foundation, and we just wanted to ask you kind of what your role is with Team Jack, what they're doing in 2023.
2024.
Gosh, 2024 holy cow, in 2024, and anything that, or is there anywhere that people can donate and help out with Team Jack?
Yeah, absolutely. 24, we've got some pretty cool stuff set up. Obviously, we're going to run it back with the Team Jack Golf Foundation with the with the golf tournament. We're going to have more alumni guys there this year, hopefully get some coaches and some current players out as well. The Team Jack Gala obviously is in February. You can go on the site, look at how to purchase tables, and that's always been a special night for us. It's a good fundraiser. A ton of stuff to be auctioned on. That's a fun night. I think it's February 26th.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Awesome. Then we'll have the tournament or the golf tournament in the summer, and then this fall I'm going to be working with a couple of the alumni guys from past generations above me, also to start getting some guys together from my generation to start hosting a Husker tailgate for once a year. So we're going to try and circle the Buffs game and give us all an excuse to all get back to Lincoln and kind of rub elbows, see how everybody's doing, and then obviously support the Huskers. And but yeah, I'm always looking for ways to be involved with the foundation. It started obviously 12 years ago with Rex and Jack, and Andy and my father Dan became really close friends through our relationship. And my stepdad actually went to the very first gala in their hometown. So it's been a really special and rewarding relationship I've had with the Hoffmans and the foundation, and they actually put me in charge of the alumni for the foundation. So I'm the chairman for the alumni chapter of the foundation.
It's lovely. Love to hear that.
They're lovely people.
Kenny, we want to thank you again for not just coming on the No Block No Rock podcast, but risking life and limb, basically.
Yeah.
My man got out of his car and talked to us.
He dodged
You guys-
semis.
And you guys owe me a cold one this fall. We'll call
Hey,
it.
Hey, man,
We've got
there's-
plenty for you.
There's always a seat here at the brewery for you too, if you want to come in person, and we have the whole brewery to ourselves. So
Yeah, we'll do that.
plenty of cold ones
Let's-
for you.
Let's plan on something before the spring game or something.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure, absolutely.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, Kenny,
All right,
Kenny,
guys.
get back on the road. Thank you again. We appreciate it. And we appreciate your work with Team Jack, obviously. And go Big Red, right?
Go Big Red, baby. Appreciate you guys having me. It's an honor.
Yes, sir. Much
Thank
love.
you, Kenny.
Thanks, Kenny.
We'll see
Appreciate
you.
you.
Okay. Well, look, we said that we appreciate when guests come into the brewery.
Yeah.
We love in person. You know, you can look them in the eye. There's body language, social cues, all that.
There's
stuff.
also no traffic.
And there's also it's also pretty like we got full bars when we're talking to each other here.
Yeah.
So at least we will always have a story to tell, right?
Yeah.
He didn't come in, which would have been cool, but he got out of his damn car.
Dude got out of his car, turned his camera on, and he's in there. You could hear him shivering. He's trying to answer questions.
It's got to be
he's
20 below, and this man got out of his car and reconnected like 6 times to be with us.
His cricket
Shout out Kenny Bell.
That cricket phone of his finally at the end there came in clutch. But yeah, I mean that was great, and just kind of asking about my Bo Pelini thing. We always talk about how, like, what if Bo Pelini was so great, then why doesn't he have a dang job?
Right.
You know, and just kind of hearing him, and this is probably something we should have thought of, but the way that he did things and how people can just leave, right?
We've had players say
So,
that though.
I-
In the
right.
past, we've had guys say like, "Nah, it wouldn't work." Like,
Yeah.
and not in today's world because players are too soft. Like they can't take criticism.
I was confused by your question though when you said that. Why hasn't he had another Power 5 job? Was he not at LSU?
But he meant
you know
like
what
a head coach.
You know,
no,
like
you're asking for a
running
head
pro-
coaching job.
like running a program. And
I mean, he
I
was.
think you even more mean like right after Nebraska, the guy
Yeah.
could have got a head coaching job if he wanted to. I would imagine
You would
he
have
coulda-
thought. You would have thought.
but
With-
instead of Youngstown,
Yeah. Well, and he did great at Youngstown State.
did okay.
did fine. Did fine.
But
You know, okay.
I would also, I guess I would have to look back at the coaching carousel in those years and see, you know, what jobs were open and who else was available.
I don't.
I think Bo Pelini, the big thing was Bo was known, as Husker fans know him, as, you know, maybe an aggressive individual.
Yeah.
Well,
And
sure,
I
he
might be
might have said.
underselling it.
He might have said something.
Okay. Again, I will go.
You guys are all soft.
I will go directly at this. The main thing that Bo Pelini said was "fuck the fans."
well, sure.
And honestly, there are some very soft fans. You don't want to be here when we're losing. Don't be here when we're winning. I don't disagree with him.
Bo just said the things that everybody else was thinking. Honestly,
Yeah,
I
Mike,
mean, he's
Mike.
just not. He doesn't beat around the bush.
Mike, how long have you been going to Husker basketball games?
A long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
He
How
has
many
season
times-
ticket.
Mike, how many tournament wins do you ever see?
Zero.
Zero.
Oh,
Mike, how many games you plan on going to in the future?
Well, currently they're playing right now, so I plan on
Yes.
popping the television on
What's
when we
the
get
score?
done
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
We're winning. Last I
let's
checked.
look up the
But-
score, guys.
but
14
you're-
to 13.
Mike, you
Oh,
ride.
that's
33-28. 33-28.
But Mike, you
Okay.
ride or die,
Yes.
win or lose.
Yes. I think
That's a fan.
yes.
The people that only want to be here when we're winning, those are the people that Bo Pelini was talking about. It
I-
wasn't about all of the fans. It was the ones that only want to see wins.
Well, you know, when you're in an emotional state, you have the tendency to generalize and
Sure.
lash out your
Yeah.
comments.
and
to
you have
all
things
fans.
and you have things to compare to. Like as a fan, you know, you were spoiled through the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Right.
And so when you try to compare that in the 2000s with Bo, it's kind of tough because we weren't winning championships, but we were consistently winning 9 games a year. In hindsight, we're like, we would kill. I guarantee you there's fans out there that would kill to win 9 games.
Yeah, and the other thing that I was going to ask him, I'm like, well, look, we can acknowledge that he won 9 games a year, but in those big games, right? Yeah, Rutgers just took the lead, but in those big games, it just seemed like the team would clench, and I think Kenny has addressed this before. You know, it's not a secret that Melvin Gordon is still running.
Yeah.
And it's like, he even said himself, like, there was that pressure to be perfect. And Bo Pelini's the kind of guy that if you're not playing well, he's probably going to get on your ass a little bit. So that puts a little more clench in your butt muscles, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I was like, I don't know if I should ask him that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, he handled it well. I'm sure he's been asked that question before, and yeah.
I'm sure he's had a guy like Connor come on the bar and go, why the fuck did you lose that game like that?
Oh my god.
I actually I did not do that to Kenny ever. That was one time, and it was Nate Gary. Which I did get to
barefoot Nate Gary.
Yeah, I did get to talk to Nate about that. And I apologized, and he looked at me and was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "All right, great. That's actually kind of the response I was hoping for." Nate Gary, I do still love you. Please come on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it was an awesome interview. I hope he definitely makes an appearance in person one of these days. He says maybe before the spring game, so we'll definitely get something lined up.
We just have to be sure to clip that moment that he showed himself on the side of the road.
That was
in a field or something.
I don't know
where was he.
We are all hosts of this podcast.
Indeed.
I don't know that I would be getting out of my car on the side of the road, and what I have to assume is below zero weather, to just get on my phone with maybe AirPods. Like, that is some commitment, and I want to give a massive shout out to Kenny Bell for that absolute commitment to this episode.
Shout out to him and shout out to us guys, because we are that good. We are that big of a deal. That we could always say, what other podcast can say? Yeah, we made Kenny Bell get out of his car at -10 wind chill to talk to us.
Not only did Kenny Bell do that, but Charlie McBride called us during a storm.
Yeah.
Like
McBride's power went out.
His power went out, and he called us in the middle of a storm to continue his interview. So
this was a case where like we would lose him and then get him back and lose him.
That's exactly how that went. And honestly, that just goes back to, like, I feel like people that are associated with Nebraska fans and this program in general, like they just care more. And
hey, Mike,
people aren't going to do that if they don't care.
Would you say it just means more?
It just means more in Nebraska.
It just means more.
I think that's a good place to wrap this thing up, guys.
Absolutely. Hey, again, Kenny Bell, thank you very much. Team Jack Foundation, we want to give a shout out to them. I know we've probably had an ad read by now.
Oh, yeah.
Go to NBNR Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're really trying to get our YouTube game right. So please go follow and subscribe to our videos on YouTube.
There are tattoos on the line.
There are tattoos on the line.
1,000
Delaware.
I think
will get a tattoo.
I think the folks on the street call them tattoos.
The tattoos.
And Mike will also call it that once he gets one. So again, thank you, Kenny Bell. And guys, merch, nbnrpodcast.com. Mike, that shirt, I don't know. I don't think we have that. Hat. These hats are freaking sharp. Go buy one. We would appreciate it. We need money, so.
They're also very comfortable, like genuinely.
Yeah. My head is comfortable.
My head is very nice.
It's very nice. Okay, guys, what do you say we wrap up?
Yeah,
Mike's like, will you shut the fuck up? I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall,
Mike Delaware,
Kyle Byers,
and Connor Cavlack.
As always, thank you, Kenny Bell. Follow Team Jack. Thank you. In GBR. Oh, beat Rutgers.
Yeah, beat Rutgers.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.